if you ask me. Getting up and moving. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a base model Bronco two-door that has some cool modifications on it. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Bronco. Check out the inventory in the description down below, and if you're looking to upfit your Bronco, they can definitely hook you up. Let's get into the video. So first off, we have to talk about what's powering this Bronco. So we have a turbocharged 2.3 liter four-cylinder that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 300 horsepower and then 325 pound-feet of torque. So since I've reviewed a bunch of Broncos on the channel, we're just going to focus on the key points of the base model Bronco. So first off, something I really like is the fact that it has LED lights from the factory. That's something that Jeep doesn't offer on their sport model, for example. So the fact that every single Bronco has LED lights, I think is awesome. I love how the Bronco logo is blacked out on this one. And then you guys can see the tow hooks down below have also been blacked out. But yeah, this thing looks really good from the front end. So the first modification is the tires. This has 33s added to it. So they look significantly better than what you're going to get from the factory with the base model Bronco. Again, it just adds this like aggressive look to it. You guys can see here from the side, it just looks really good, and it's also going to improve ride quality as well, just having a little bit more sidewall. You can see the metallic gray wheels match the metallic gray on this one, and then this also does have the Ford performance lights, as you can see on either side, and obviously that'll help out with visibility while off-roading and at night, well, at night specifically, but you guys know what I'm saying. And then you guys can see here with the side step helps getting in and out a little bit. And it also looks like it kind of would protect slightly, just a little bit. And you guys can see here with the setup in the rear. And then finishing things up here in the rear, spare tire also has, you know, the same cool wheel, and then also a 33 as well. And then this one is a hard top, which is definitely pretty cool. That's definitely my preferred route with the Bronco. I think it just looks a lot better aesthetically. And then the only thing that I don't like about the base model Broncos is just the tail lights. I do prefer the LEDs, but I still think these look pretty good, just not as good as the LEDs. Now, popping here to the interior, you guys can see, still get nice padding here on the door panel, and then we do get the cloth seats here in the base model. You can see it's darker here and then lighter on the bolsters, and then down below the seats are manually adjustable. And then you guys can see here with the rear seats, and you can fit adults back there very comfortably. And I've always loved the grab handle right there, and we'll go over the window sticker in just a moment. We're going to pop that in there and stepping in. Woo! You guys can see we still get the full digital screen, and notice this is what, well, the owner has been averaging 18.2 miles per gallon, which is great for having 33s and all that fun stuff. And then you can see with the base model, you get quite a bit. You got cruise control, you got volume controls in the steering wheel, all the controls here for the center stack. Really nice infotainment system. You guys can see the camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. So you get quite a bit, and this also does have the trail turn assist as well. So that helps out with off-roading. Have single zone climate, and then you guys can see here the shifter for that 10-speed automatic. And then notice with the driveline select, it has everything except for four-wheel auto. It does have the off-road cruise control though. And then in terms of the drive modes, you have a normal, eco, sport, slippery, and then you have a sand mode as well to choose from a drive mode perspective. Then you guys can see the window controls here in the center, all that fun stuff. The windows are gigantic because, again, it's a two-door, so yeah, definitely interesting. And then this does come with the 6 auxiliary switches. It's kind of hard to see because of the lighting right now. And then again, the hard top does have like cloth here on the top, which definitely helps out with insulation in terms of heat, and then also sound as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the interior. Let's get into the window sticker. So this is where things get very interesting, in my opinion. So you guys can see here 2021 Bronco Base, again the fuel economy, and then you guys can see the standard equipment that you have here with this base Bronco, and then you can see the options that have been added to this particular one. It's quite a few. The automatic transmission's one of the most expensive option, well, the most expensive option rather. But you guys can see the base price right there, $28,000, and then the total MSRP $32,260. I think that's an absolute steal for everything you're getting here with this Bronco hardtop. Again, it's a two-door, so it's not as practical as the four-door, but it's still super practical in my opinion. So yeah, and that's obviously before the accessories have been added to this. Again, this just has tires and the light pods right now. But yeah, let's take it out and see how the base model drives with some more aggressive tires. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors. And throughout the rest of the rear, which is really good in the two-door, by the way. The two-door definitely has better visibility than the four-door. Anyways, let's set off. Okay, so setting off here in this two-door, and this thing is pretty cool, to be honest. It actually has quite a bit of presence with those more aggressive tires, and then the gray wheels. Again, it kind of all ties together, and I think it you know, leads to this having a really good look. But let's talk about how the base model Bronco drives, again, with just popping 33s on it, which, again, this doesn't have a lift kit, doesn't have a leveling kit, nothing. This literally just has 33s thrown onto it, which you can do with the base Bronco base suspension, all that fun stuff. So initially, I guess we'll talk about the seats while we're waiting here for this crazy Provo traffic. Bolstering's really nice with these seats. The cloth seats are really comfortable, actually, and they stay neutral temperature wise, so when it's colder outside like right now, you know, again, they don't like feel brutally cold or anything like that, which is great. That's not true for leather, and so the fact this doesn't have heated seats doesn't really matter all that much, because like I said, the seats stay pretty neutral. And like I talked about earlier, visibility is great with the two-door. Like, you pretty much have like a you know, 360 panoramic view out of the Bronco, which is definitely fantastic, and obviously makes it feel a lot safer. And this doesn't have blind spot monitoring, but it really doesn't need it, if you ask me. Getting up and moving. The 2.3 is so peppy. You know, there's a lot of people that say you have to get the 2.7 V6. It's not exactly true. So the horsepower difference between them is only about 30 horsepower. There's a big torque difference. This has 325, and then the 2.7 has like 425, so there's a 100-pound-feet torque difference. So, you know, right out the line, there is a little bit of a punch difference, but once you're up and moving, they both feel pretty similar, because again, the horsepower is about the same. And the one thing about this versus the 2.7, this definitely has more of like the turbo whistle, which I don't know, I think it sounds cool. And compared to what you get with a Wrangler, it's so much better. This is so much peppier compared to the V6, especially right here. We're at 4,500 feet elevation roughly. This just has punch, whereas the Wrangler V6 just doesn't quite stack up. But yeah, driving around, the 33s help. I have driven like a, you know, regular Bronco with like street tires, right? And, you know, it doesn't ride bad, but this definitely helps out a bit. And obviously this is going to do significantly better in the snow and all that kind of stuff, because it's got grippier tires, which is great. So not only is it practical, but again, it helps out the ride quality, and it just looks a whole lot better. And I guess that'll kind of lead me into the topic of today's video, and that is, you know, is this better than a base model Wrangler, right? Should you get a two-door Wrangler, or should you get something like this? And here's what I have to say. Exterior wise, right, that's going to come up to personal preference. Some people like Wrangler styling, some people like Bronco styling. Me personally, it depends on the packages, but I feel like Ford's done a really good job with the styling, and this compared to like a base model Wrangler, especially since this has the LED headlights and you know, just kind of like the design, I like it a little bit more than a base model Wrangler. Interior wise, you get quite a few creature comforts. Like, you can literally order a Wrangler with like roll up windows still, and no air conditioning, all that crazy stuff. But once you go up to like a Sport S, that's like what this basically is equipment wise. This is pretty much like a Sport S. The price goes up quite a bit. And so if you compare this to like a Wrangler, it's similar in price, you know, two-door Wrangler. This is pretty well equipped, right? It seems like this is a little bit of a better value. You know, seats, I feel like they're maybe a little bit more comfortable, but they're both pretty similar between both of the vehicles. And then driving wise, right? The Bronco has the independent front suspension versus the Wrangler's solid front axle. Now, on most driving circumstances, you don't really notice the solid front axle. It's not until you go over a big enough bump or something that you feel it. But this still does drive more car-like than the Wrangler. This feels a little bit more insulated, feels a little bit smoother, but it's not as big of a difference as you would expect, actually. But I guess, you know, fully coming full circle and summing things up, I think this looks better. It's quicker with the acceleration. I think it drives better overall as a daily driver. The steering is not nearly as wonky as the Wranglers because it doesn't have a solid front axle. And, you know, I feel like it's priced better, right? This is so affordable. This is Like the average price of a brand new car right now is $45,000, and this is $32,000 for this. And then, you know, tires, right? You're what, $1,000 in tires. And I don't know how much those lights cost, but I can't imagine they're terribly expensive. And so for 30, you know, let's say after taxes and everything, $36,000 depending on your area, I don't know another vehicle that I'd rather have. This is just such a good value for what it is. And so, yeah, I would rather have this over a base model Wrangler, and I don't really know what other vehicle in this price point I would rather have. The new Ford Maverick is another one that's cool, but it's not, a Ford Maverick's not a Ford Bronco, right? And so, yeah, Ford is making all the cool vehicles right now. They got the Maverick, which is such a cool price point vehicle, and this base model Bronco is another really cool price point vehicle. So Ford, you are killing it right now. Maybe that's why their stock price has gone up so high. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2021 Ford Bronco Base with a few modifications. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Bronco. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in that next video.